Pokemon Legends EA might just be one of the most eagerly anticipated Pokemon games we have had in a very long time. That might mainly be down to how elusive and mysterious it has been, with GameFreak essentially treating it like it's the Krabby Patty secret formula. But with news on the game potentially just around the corner, I wanted to speak about some of my main hopes for the game and how likely said hopes are to actually become a reality. Before we get started, please be sure to subscribe and hit the like button down below if you haven't already. Thanks, and let me know what your biggest hopes are for Pokemon Legends EA. Let's get to the most exciting part of this game's reveal first, Mega Evolution. Now we know from the teaser trailer released that our beloved Pokemon gimmick is making a return to the mainline games, but that does beg the question for many of us. Will it be old Mega Evolutions making a return, or will we be getting some brand new ones? Well, the Pokemon at the very top of my list, which needs some love, is Flygon. Flygon has always been that one dragon type that just doesn't quite fit in. Okay, I mean specifically statistic-wise, not appearance. Flygon's stats are by no means bad, but when comparing it to its dragon brethren, there is not really any competition. With a base stat total of 520, Flygon definitely needs a buff in the form of a Mega Evolution to take it to new heights. For me, Flygon always seemed like a pseudo legendary when growing up. It has the look, it has the moves, but it misses out on its stats. So I truly believe that Flygon needs to have some love shown to it because it's been waiting for far too long now. I think a close runner-up for a potential Mega Evolution would be Mothin. Oh, I completely forgot that thing existed. Luxray. Luxray is already a beloved Pokemon, especially for Generation 4 fans. If you were traveling through Sinnoh, you almost certainly have this electric lion on your team. It once again lies in the same ballpark as Flygon, being a Pokemon with an awesome design, some decent moves, although would definitely benefit from some new ones, but just not up to scratch with its stats. Having a base stat total of 523, Luxray definitely needs a boost. A focus on buffing Luxray's speed and attack would make this thing a real threat as a Mega Evolution. And although Luxray receiving a Mega Evolution does feel less likely than Flygon getting one, it would be amazing to see. I want to mention one more Pokemon that I would love to see getting a Mega Evolution, Aegislash. Aegislash always feels like a guilty pleasure of mine. If it got a Mega Evolution, it could quite possibly break the VGC meta. Back in Generation 6, Aegislash used to be the king of competitive battling, mostly thanks to its signature ability Stance Change. However, Aegislash got hit with a few harsh nerfs in later releases, so it could definitely use a boost via Mega Evolution. On top of that, if Pokemon Legends EA is actually set in the past, GameFreak could do something really creative with its Sword and Shield concept. I have no idea what exactly they could do to adapt Aegislash's design, but thanks to it being part Ghost, it opens up a bunch of doors on potential designs. I could go on and on about what Pokemon deserve Mega Evolutions over others, but that would probably get a bit boring after a while. Another hope that I have for Pokemon Legends EA is a brand new mechanic being introduced. Now we know that the Mega Evolution mechanic is making a return. That's pretty obvious. But what if GameFreak are being sneaky and are not only reintroducing Mega Evolutions, but introducing a new mechanic to run alongside it? One idea for a brand new mechanic that has been heavily pushed by the Pokemon community for years is Pokemon Fusion. That may sound like a lot to run alongside the Mega Evolution mechanic, but just hear me out for a second. Back in Generation 7, a Pokemon from the prior generation received a brand new form. Not a regional form, not a Mega Evolution, but a fusion form. I am of course talking about the infamous Ash Greninja. Now people may argue that Ash Greninja received so much love from the broader Pokemon community due to the anime that it made sense to add it into the Sun and Moon games. Whilst that is 100% valid and I completely agree, I feel like GameFreak might have been testing the waters. Ash Greninja is the fusion between Ash, the former main protagonist of the Pokemon anime, and his Greninja, a fusion that was only possible due to the bond that they shared with each other. That sounds an awful lot like the requirements for Mega Evolution, bar the physical Mega Stone, right? The point I'm trying to make is that there is some sort of link between Ash Greninja's fusion form and Mega Evolutions. Both require a special bond between trainer and Pokemon, and both increase the power of said Pokemon once gaining this form. Pokemon could definitely do something along these lines. For example, the starter trio that we get in Pokemon Legends EA could all have their own fusion form, with their finer evolutions. Although this might make the Pokemon broken, as they wouldn't need to hold any item for them to take this form, allowing them to hold any item whilst battling, it would be insane to see. Imagine a fusion form Emboar with buffed attack and speed, holding a choice band. That would be crazy. Although having a fusion form mechanic might be a bit too convoluted for Pokemon Legends EA, I still think we may see some form of fusion Pokemon in the near future. Or maybe it was just a promotional thing to get more people to buy Pokemon Sun and Moon. Who knows? Let's tackle the elephant in the room. It's not a secret that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's releases were a shambles at launch when it came to how the game ran. The graphics, although personally not a huge thing for me, were not a hit with Pokemon fans, and the laggy gameplay didn't help at all. We are desperate for a modern era Pokemon game to run smoothly and just look crispy. We need a Pokemon game to feel immersive. A Nintendo game franchise that is often compared to Pokemon in this regard is Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It goes without saying that comparing the two games based on graphics and running capabilities, there's just no comparison. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom look beautiful and only ever lack in terms of graphics at times due to the actual hardware they're running on, the Nintendo Switch. However, with the recent announcement of the Switch 2 and it seemingly being way more powerful than its predecessor, we could get exactly what we're looking for in a Pokemon game. GameFreak and the Pokemon Company have been taking their sweet time in developing this game, and that's evident by the lack of official trailers / information released to the public. With the combination of GameFreak taking their time with the game and it releasing on a much more powerful system, things look positive for Pokemon Legends ZA's quality. Although that is apprehensive positivity. We've been hurt in the past. The game could look incredible to the eye, but without a decent story to back that gameplay up, Pokemon Legends ZA might not live up to people's expectations. So one of my main hopes is that the story within Pokemon Legends ZA is captivating and entertaining. For me, Pokemon have always been amazing storytellers. Even Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have an amazing story, just poorly executed in my eyes at points. Depending on what the objective is for the game, it has the potential to have an amazing story built around the formation of what we now know as modern day Kalos. There is a lot of room there for some fun and exciting storytelling. If we were to use Pokemon Legends Arceus as a basis for what we could expect story-wise, I'd be pretty optimistic. Although the story for Pokemon Legends Arceus isn't groundbreaking, it was still a fun experience to play through. The story was kept simple and added in characters that the player could reference to modern day characters. The story gave a sense of something new, partnered with something mysterious. Pokemon Legends Arceus was incredible. I think if Game Freak are able to capitalize on that very feeling and thread it throughout Pokemon Legends ZA, it has the potential to be one of the best Pokemon games of all time. But that's something we will be waiting to find out for a little tiny bit longer. So what are you most excited about for Pokemon Legends ZA? The waiting we have endured so far will be all worth it soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, and why not subscribe if you haven't already. If you do, you may get a little hug from Mimikyu.